All right, hello, how's it going? Welcome to my first 40K video. Today we're going to talk about my first undefeated 40K RTT, as the title says. So after a while playing the game, I think it's been like 1 year and 9 to 10 tournaments, I think. I feel like I'm picking up the game, finally understanding how things work. It took me a while, of course, it's a hard game to learn. But yeah, I went undefeated, so I wanted to share how the tournament was, how the games went, my list, of course, and yeah, let's hopefully learn from it, learn from the mistakes, learn from the things that I did well, and yeah, with this analysis, it's just about doing it better next time and seeing what we can learn about the games. So let's go. Uh, So the tournament, it was a teams RTT, which means we are not playing for our own victory, but our teams, and it was 6 teams of 3 people playing 3 rounds. So it was a small tournament, but it was in preparation for the biggest GT in Spain, which is Talavera. So that's a tournament of I think it's 6 rounds and teams of 6 people. I'm not attending, but my team is. So I came to this tournament just to help them, chill with them, hang out, and help them prepare. And there was in this tournament, in this RTT, a mix of maybe some casual players that they're also going to Talavera, don't get me wrong, they are pretty good players, but they were also very strong competitive players, people that usually play in the high tables of GTs. We have a strong scene here in my location. So yeah, we were in for some tough games and for some serious competition, even though the vibes are great, everyone's super nice, and the competitiveness really does not have to go against attitude and being friendly and having a great time. And as for my team, because I'm not attending Talavera, I was put in a leftovers team with other people that also didn't have their team complete there. And yeah, our lineup was, well, of course, I was playing Tyranids, and as you can see, of course, based on the pictures. And the other guy was playing Admech, and we also had Eldari. So it was a nice balanced team because armies like Tyranids or Admech, they are very stable. They can always get nice results against basically any opponent, whereas Eldari have the potential to go to any of to really crush on opponents if they can avoid their bad matchups. All right, so taking a look at my list. So first off, I'm playing Tyranids, as I said, and I'm playing Invasion Fleet, which is the index detachment, whose detachment rule is having either you choose at the beginning of the game, you get either sustained hits against infantry, or you get lethal hits against vehicles or monsters, which is very useful because Tyranids are one of the lowest damage armies in the game, so you really can use a nice damage boost like that. So with other detachments, you will typically struggle to kill most of things. With this one, well, you have a best shot, especially against heavily armored armies like knights, which I think that is what makes Invasion Fleet the best list if you want to play this role, this shield role in which you want to get any matchup and do fine. It also has some nice stratagems. The most useful one probably is having a 5 up feel no pain for a unit for the whole phase, which is great. It's a big survivability boost, but you only have it while you're in Synapse. So that's important because in this list you really want to take Synapse units because you also always want to have access to that feel no pain. In other detachments, really Synapse is not that important, but in this one it is. Other stratagems that are useful for my list in particular is respawning gargoyles. So if they don't kill my gargoyles, I get to respawn some of them. So if they don't kill the unit, I get to respawn in my command phase. And that's great because that enables you sometimes if one gargoyle survives, it allows you to retake a point, which is very, very big and important. And it also has fight on death on a 4-up, which for the monsters is not great because it's very swingy. You are spending 1 CP, and if you fail the roll, then you do nothing. But for a unit like Gene Stealers, it allows them to play on the defensive. If they can be behind the wall waiting for the enemies to come, and if they charge you and you hit them back with 5 Gene Stealers on average, and maybe the Broodlord, it's going to hurt. So they have to respect it. And that's mostly. It has some other interesting stratagems, but they are very rarely used. And then for the list, well, we can take a look at the units. So on the one hand, we have the Hive Tyrant. So it's the walking one, which gives you assault and lethal hits in a 6 inches aura. Which assault is very useful because Tyranid monsters are slow for their size. They don't move like 10 or 12 like knights do, and you really want to use assault to shoot as you move up the board. Uh, Lethal hits is not that useful in this particular detachment because it overlaps with your army rule. So that's the reason that I'm actually considering dropping on the half Tyrant, but it's still there for the time being. And I mean, it also gives you a nice body with some melee attacks, so that's of course useful. And the discounter stratagems, of course, which is great. I have a Neuro Tyrant, which is there mainly to provide synapse, as I was saying, very important in this detachment, and also to give you a nice flamer, which, you know, against elves, if you get paired up against them, it's scary. Then I have a unit with my main brick of melee hitting, which is a brawler with the Gene Stealers. You know, the scouts, and they hit very hard. So when you need to bring down tough targets, like against Necrons in particular, which typically now run a big brick of warriors, that kind of units, yeah, this brick is very, very good. We have 2x10 gargoyles, which I have started running recently, and they are one of the best units in the game. To be honest, they are super fast. They have OC2, and they allow you to either steal objectives or move block your opponent. They do so many things. So I mean, they are very squishy. Of course, they don't do any damage, but they are really worth the points. We have 3 lictors, 2 regular ones and 1 neurolictor. So lictors are also one of our best units. They are lone ops, they are small, they are stealthy, they hit hard and fight first. So I use them for a lot of things. Usually I deploy one and then I leave the other one in reserves. And yeah, you can snipe characters, you can snipe small units, you can hold an objective using the lone op and the small base. Yeah, they're amazing for their cost. And Neurolictor at the end is very similar. It doesn't hit that hard, but I will typically put it in the middle because it's invulnerable save. So I can use it as bait to make people come to the middle objective. And if it survives, I can hide it and they use the battle shock. So the battle shock is probably the least important part. It's just like a tough lone op that they have to commander with in the early game. And you also can cleanse, you know, things like you don't typically want to do in the midboard. You can do it with an Neurolictor. I have an Emissary, which is probably let's say the least meta unit in this list. Most meta unit lists don't run Emissary, but for my playstyle, I think it fits. Also, the model is great. It's kind of my pet model that I like to bring. But for my playstyle, which is very, you know, hold my expansion, be very stable, it's great for that role. I would typically never send it to the middle because, you know, these days everyone has damage to kill an Norn. Even, you know, it's not that tough. I mean, it's tough, but not that tough. But if you put it in your expansion, and your expansion is decently covered, there are not many units that can kill it in one activation. So that basically guarantees that you are going to hold your expansion for turns 2 and 3 and maybe 4, which means already 15 points on primary. And as I say, I want to score points. I want to be very stable. So this unit does the job very well. Then I have my shooting bags. So I have 2 Exocrines and 2 Rupture Cannon Tyrannofexes. And those are there to do damage. I need some damage, of course. You need to kill the opponent. It's not going to be all about the scoring and skirmishing. So yeah, that's the role. And they will be typically in my backfield shooting at everything that they see. The Exocrines are great, of course, against, well, basically everything with the profile, but especially good against elite infantry. And Tyrannofexes are great against vehicles. They are very swingy, it's true, but at least they are scary. So, and when they pop off, they can do a lot of damage. The last addition to my list are the Raveners. So the Raveners are a nice unit that can trade well. They can come from Deep Strike. They have Happy Downy, so they can be anywhere that you need them. And I think they provide this list much needed speed and mobility, because in previous tournaments where I wasn't running the Raveners, I was feeling like my list was lacking the ability to go some places. Yeah, I can have some Lictors or some Gargoyles, but I don't really have a threat that my opponent has to respect. They cannot just, you know, now they can't with these Raveners, they cannot just leave a guy in their backfield and be safe. So, and also having a deep strike with rapid ingress threat for some objectives, I think comes very handy. And I was very happy with their performance in this tournament in particular. And also, because I always include it, I forgot about it, I have the Biowar, of course. All right, so then let's look at the games and what happened during the tournament. So the first round, our own opponents, the other team had Drukhari, Deathwatch, and Imperial Knights, and I was paired against Drukhari, so I was sent as the first shield, so I got to pick between Deathwatch and Drukhari, and I picked Drukhari basically because I have not ever played against Deathwatch. I don't want to to be facing an army for the first time in a tournament. That's not something that you ever want. It happened to me in a tournament a while ago, and it's rough. So my opponent was a very good player. I think he went second in the last tournament that we played, and he also always plays Drukhari, so he's a very seasoned player. He knows what he's doing. So we are in for an already tough matchup in the first game. Although I think the army matchup is perfectly fine. He was playing Drukhari Cavalry Cartel, which is a detachment, but basically it was the first time that I was playing against it. But what it does is you pick a unit, and it's your contract unit, and if it's a monster, you get lethals against all monsters, not against only that unit, but against all monsters. And if it's infantry, you get sustain. So very similar to what my army does. In fact, the only thing is that once he kills the contract unit, he can change it to another one. And then for his stratagems, he has a 18 lone up, which is very, very, very good against my units because I cannot shoot him with my long range backs, so that's a big deal. And about his list, he had your Drukhari list. He had 3 units of heavy weapon scourges, which they can be inside the ruin, and then they can move out. They can shoot from long range, and then they can move back again. And that's a very big deal also, because that means that I cannot interact with them. So they can be shooting at my monsters, and they have anti-tank profiles, but I cannot shoot back. So that means that I'm going to have a hard time trading, which we will see later. And about the mission, about the rest of his list, he had some heavy melee hitters, like units of 5 with characters that, they are squishy, but they can kill a lot of stuff, and then some vehicles. I think it's your Drukhari list, nothing crazy. And about the mission is hidden supplies, which means, like I've poorly drawn here, that instead of having 3 objectives in the midboard, we have 4. We have 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. And the scoring means the scoring is that you only score for having 1 or having 2, 5 each, or you also score 5 points if you control more than the opponent. But the home field only counts for the latter of those. So in general, you will only score if you control your objectives in the midboard. 5 if you control 1, 10 if you control 2 is going to be the usual, because it's very hard to hold 3 objectives and the other one not holding 3 is basically impossible. Okay, so that's the mission, that's the opponent. So let's see what we are going to do in this match. So tactical keys. So this is something that I like to do, especially playing Tyrannies, which is a very tactical army. You really need to think about your opponent. You really need to think about the mission, because you want to win by scoring, not by killing the opponent. You're not going to table anybody with Tyrannies. I don't think I have ever, especially with my list. I think it's totally impossible. I didn't table anybody ever. So you need to think about how you're going to score your points and how you're going to win the game. And in this mission, in 5 minutes, I identified some quick things. So first off, the expansion is very easy to defend. Okay, so let's, of course, for all the games, pretend that we are the green player. So we are playing here. So our natural expansion, which means the objective that is the easiest to hold, is going to be this one. Why? Because we can put a unit here behind the wall, and it's very hard for the opponent to interact with it. They cannot shoot at you because you have a wall, of course, covering you. You put, like in my case, Lictor here. It's very easy to screen. Since you are here, if you maybe shoot a spore mine or something in the corner, then there's no space here for anybody to come. And if you put another unit here, maybe another Lictor, which is what I did, hidden here behind this terrain, then the other option that the opponent has to reach your expansion is to come walking all this line, which is basically suicide. You can shoot him from several angles, mostly this one if you deploy the monster here, or if you come from reserves. So this expansion is super easy to defend, which means that the difficulty of this game, or the goal for us this game, is going to defend this other expansion objective. How are we going to do this? Well, that's why I have the Norn. So I will put the Norn here, and then I will put my unit of Genestealers here behind the wall. So of course behind the wall here, so at some point they will be seen from this angle, but that's fine at some point. If he wants to go that far up, then I'm totally okay, I can charge you then. But that means that in order to take this objective, he has to come with several units from this angle and charge me. So that already puts him in a position in which he has to be very aggressive if he wants to steal the objective, which then I can, of course, counterpunch. And then, so that's the plan for holding our midboard. So what's the plan to maybe trying to prevent him from holding. And I was saying that the expansion is very easy to hold, right? So he can also do that. He can put a unit of 5 elves here or a transport and hold the objective. Okay, but this is where gargoyles come into play. So gargoyles have a big advantage. It's crazy mobility and great OC means that we as Tyranids have the opportunity to steal primary very easily. So if I deploy my gargoyles here with a decent advance, I don't really need a 6 or anything like that, but I can always reroll if I need to. I can cross all this distance and then reach here and then shoot and move and steal the objective. Alternatively, or in addition, I can also come from deep strike and deploy here if he's not screening properly this zone. And I can do the same. I can land from deep strike, I can shoot, and I can move into the objective. So as long as he's hiding behind the wall, which he wants to do because he's very squishy, he doesn't have a Rogue Adorn or something like that he can put on the objective to defend it. So as a Dark Eldar, he needs to stay behind the wall if he doesn't want to get shot. So I can just send my gargoyles and steal his objective. And I will try to do this 2 rounds if possible, and that already puts me on an advantage of 10 points. So that's going to be the goal for this game. Why? Also because it's very hard to trade in this match. It's very hard to trade. Why? Because as I said before, he's shooting. He has low up 18 inches, so I cannot shoot it from very far away. And he can deploy here, move out, shoot me, and then go back. So it's impossible for me to trade, which means I'm on a countdown. I'm going to be eventually dying because he's going to be shooting at me full force every turn. So I need to make sure that I have to step on the objectives, build this primary advantage. We are both going to score secondary missions. Both our armies are totally fine scoring. We are not running any crazy list with 3 units like Imperial Knights. So we need to gain this primary advantage and try to hold until the end. That's going to be the plan, nothing less than that. And in this particular game, this was even more important because I went first. So if you go first in some missions like this one, Hidden Supplies is one of them, you have to know that your opponent is always going to score 15 points at the bottom of 2. Unless you kill them, which as I was saying, it doesn't happen with Tyranids, they will always have the option, because they scored at the bottom of turn 5, to come with a unit and steal this objective, and then hold this one, and boom, they have 4 objectives. You have 2, they are scoring 15. So you need to build at least a score differential of 15 points if you want to tie. Of course, if you build more, then good for you. But you have to play with that in mind. If they have 1 damage, you have to score them, and especially if you go first. Okay, so let's see then what happened, because these were all the assumptions that I was doing before. So what happened, how it went? So, well, it went exactly as expected. So I lost the trading wars. So I started shooting what I could. I needed to push a little bit harder or more forward than usual. So usually what I will put a Tyrannofax here, and I will put another one here, and I will start, firing this direction, and the same with an Exocrine in this direction, and maybe another Exocrine will come from reserves, which I like to do, and fire here. But in this case, I wasn't able to fire at his units because the Scorches, they go back behind the wall. So I ended up being able to kill some things, but not the Scorches. But what I did very, very, very well, and I think it meant I was in the game, it was what I just said. So I put a Lictor here, so he was fine. I screened with a mine here. I screened with another Lictor here, so that meant that my expansion was totally safe. And I put my Norn here, and I put my GS Stealers here. So he actually charged me. I don't think I got any charges. I think I charged with a Ramirez late in the game here to this objective, trying to deny it. But I got to hold my objective for the basically all the game. So turn 2 I scored it, to turn 3 I scored it, turn 4 I scored it. So the Norn, I think, held here for 3 turns, which, it's to be expected because Dark Eldar don't have that great anti-tank in melee. So everything went according to plan. And in the meantime, I sent the gargoyles to deny his expansion, and then I deep stroke another gargoyles and denied another turn, which means I built this advantage that I was talking about. And at the same time, Shadow in the Warp, which I called very late in this game because he also naturally he was playing second, so he was more defensive because he knows that he has the 15 at the end of the game. So Shadow in the Warp allowed me to deny his primary and secondary in turn 4. So he moved a unit here into his turn 4, but it was battle shocked, so he was unable to steal my objective from my Lictor, and he also wasn't able to score engage on all fronts because most of his units were battle shocked. So it was a big deal. And at the end, it was a tight game. So very close. So he did very well scoring this objective. I don't think I was able to steal it even once. In primary, he did not do that well, but he had the 15 at the end of the game. And also he did very well in secondaries. So at the end, it was a tie. So great game, great first round. Our team won the round because my teammates both won 20-0, I believe. So very happy with this first game, I think, against a very strong opponent. All right, let's jump into the second round. So the second round, I think I was also given the choice, and in this time it was Chaos Knight or Feldhammer Siegehost Chaos Space Marines, which is the one that I picked. So Chaos Knight, not great for me. Of course, he was running several big shooting knights, and as we will see later, Tyranids have some issues with big knights. It's very hard for us to crack them. So it was a very clear pick for me to play against these Chaos Space Marines. The opponent is a very nice guy. I played him before. It was the second time I played him. He also was playing Chaos Space Marines the other time, although with another detachment. And his list, he was running two very big bricks of 10 possessed and 10 chosen as well with Abaddon. So his list was very infantry focused. He also had 2 Vindicators and then some chaff. He has, I think, 2 units of bikes and 3 units of cultists. So the plan for him was to overwhelm me. This is a list that you will see in some very skewed list in teams. Also is very good because if they find the right matchup, they can do great. If you don't have enough anti-infantry shooting against this list, you will struggle. So he just wants to push further. So he wants to come here with his infantry, he wants to come here, and he wants to come here, basically overwhelm you with bodies and hope that you don't have enough firepower to kill them. And this mission was Purge the Foe and Tipping Point. So Purge the Foe means that the game changes a lot because the objective is just to kill units. It's 4 points for killing 1 unit every round, another 4 points for killing more than your opponent killed in this round, 4 points for holding only 1 objective, and it counts your home, so basically you're always scoring that. And then it's another 4 points if you hold more than the opponent, which is very hard because you need to hold the middle, your expansion, and the home, which in this particular map, which I picked, is very hard because this middle objective is extremely open, so it can be shot and charged from any angles. So I don't think that anybody has the hopes of holding it. So at the end, the game is just about efficient trading. So you need to kill the opponent to get this kill more and avoid getting killed. And as I was saying about his lineup, he has a lot of infantry, and also he has some very nice rules. So his detachment rule is -1 to wound against ranged attacks if the strength is higher than the toughness, or any attack. I don't recall. Maybe any attack. And then he has a 5-up feel no pain like mine, but only in shooting. But a 5-up feel no pain with 3 wound models is great. It makes them very tanky because usually you want to shoot at them with exocrines, in my case with 3 damage. So if they have 5-up feel no pain, it's going to screw your shooting. So you really want no, I mean you are going to struggle to kill them. So that's his strategy. Of course, he wants to overwhelm you with stats. All right. So again, like in the previous game, what do we want to do in this particular game? So, well, I kind of was spoiling it already, right? So I got to choose pairing and table, and I went for the open one. So as you can see, this map is very open because I can set up a shooting castle, as I would call it, here. So I can deploy a Tyrannofax here, an exocrine here, maybe another exocrine here, and then I can, let's say, tip all the guns outside and then see all this. So I can see this, I can see this, I can see that. So this gives me a big advantage based on the map that I have a lot of shooting. I mean, he also has some shooting, don't get me wrong. He had 2 Vindicators, which were a problem, we will see. But what I want to do is to shoot as much as I can. Then I can kind of defend my expansion. I mean, it's not kind of defending my expansion because I just want him to be prevented from scoring more objectives. I mean, right? It's very hard to, as I was saying, to score 8 points because of holding objectives, but still that means that I don't want to give up my expansion. So the Norn will go here and it will try to defend this objective from whatever comes in this direction. And then for the other flank, we're going to use gargoyles. Yeah, gargoyles are great for move blocking, not only stealing objectives. So anything that he comes or he puts in this right side, or left side for him, I will try to move block with my gargoyle. So I will deploy them here and I will come here, try to steal the expansion. I think in this case it's going to be very hard because he has more OC than the Eldar. I cannot really fit 10 gargoyles here without maybe eating an Overwatch or something like that. But what I can do is to map block them. So I will just put the gargoyles here and I will make it so he cannot reach my objective. He will hold his expansion. That is totally fine. So that's the plan. So hold the flanks, shoot the middle because it's very open, and hopefully be hit on trades. Okay, and how it went in this case. So I must say everything again went according to plan. So that's why planning is important, because I mean, yeah, if you fail your rolls horribly, maybe your plan does not go. But if you have a plan that does not, my plan did not rely on rolls. It's just like, yeah, maybe I fail my shooting in the middle, or maybe my Nord dies super quickly and it's unexpected. But okay, might happen. But the rest is totally controllable. My gargoyles are going to be move blocking here, no matter what happens. So yeah, everything went according to plan. The gargoyles held this flank, and the Norn held this objective. So what I did in this matchup is, because you don't care that much about holding your expansion, but you care more about preventing that your opponent holds it. So in this case, I put a lictor here and I kept my Norn back. So I kept the lictor here, then his unit of, I think it was Chosen plus Abaddon, came and killed the lictor, of course, obviously, but then I could regain it with the Norn. And that means that I'm hitting him first, so I'm killing like 6 Chosen, I think I killed. And then the crackback does not kill me. Yeah, Abaddon hits hard, but he does not hit that hard to one-shot a Norn. No, so that means that I denied his scoring and I kept him busy for a while, which is at the end what you want to do in Push the Foe. You don't really mind that much about this objective. And then what didn't go that well was the shooting part. So I did what I was planning. So I put 2 monsters here and I put another one here, I believe. And lastly, my other exocrine was here to shoot at these units. But this went terrible because he went out with his Vindicator. I think it was one came from reserves in this angle and the other came here, and they killed a lot of my shooting. So the Vindicators, they are very strong guns. They have strength 14, AP3, D6 damage, and a lot of shots and sustained hits for CSMs. So yeah, they basically killed my exocrines very, very fast, which means that I did not kill most of his possessed. They reached the midboard pretty okay. I think he made kind of a mistake trying to go very forward with one of the bricks of possessed, which meant that I put the Neurolictor here and I did the heroic intervention with the Gene Stealers because he had no that much shooting, so I was okay standing here. I think we had also some slightly different ruin setup. I think they were like this, so that meant that this ruin was safer. So I could hold the midboard. I did not destroy him with my shooting, but that was mostly according to plan. What got me a lot of points in this match was that he gave me a little bit of an opening for deep strikes. So when he pushed up with Abaddon, he left a hole here because his midfield screeners or his backfield screeners were here. So I had some space here. So first I dropped the Lictor and then I dropped the Gargoyles, and that meant that he was very busy with them. He had to send the Vindicator back to shoot at the Gargoyles, which is of course not ideal. He wanted to be here blasting at my other monsters. And I also got to deep strike the Raveners here, which didn't do a lot, but also another distraction. So yep, all in all, I mean, it was a close game, don't get me wrong, because at the end, Abaddon, of course, ended up breaking through the Norn, and also these Gargoyles ended up dying, so he was not able to reach my home. And sadly, also we had to theorize the last turn and a half because we ran out of time. But I mean, we said, yeah, no kill more, no hold more for anybody, score our secondaries, and that's it. Yep. And that was an 11-9 for me. So it could have been anyone's game, to be fair. Maybe some lucky rolls at the end that we theorized could have been a tie, or maybe it could have been a 12-8, whatever. But yeah, so it was a very nice matchup. So I think this round we lost, actually, because I just had this very narrow victory, whereas we had a tie and a very clear defeat in the other two. So we were 1-1 in the middle of the pack going into the third round. All right. Last round. So last round was against Imperial Knights, which is something that usually scares me a lot because Tyranids typically struggle a lot against Knights. It's very hard for us to kill the big Knights with that many wounds and that high toughness. Yeah, we have lethal with the adaptation of the detachment rule, but it's very, very hard to kill the big Knights. in this case, I didn't pick the matchup. I think I would have picked it anyway because his list, as we can see, was a little bit special. So he was running two big knights, one shooting one. I think it was the Warden or the Defender, the new one. And the other one was melee, which I don't recall the name. And it was not the Lancer, it was another one. And then he had 8 army guards and a guy holding his objective. I think it's an Inquisitor or something like that from Imperial Legends. So for me, as I was saying, big knights are usually a problem, but since he was only running 2, it sounded manageable. If I can maybe kill one, I will be fine. And then the army guards are very, very easy for me to kill. Exocrines have a strength 9, which is the same as their toughness. Tyrannofexes wound them on 2s. My melee monsters, Norn and Hive Tyrant, wound them on 3s. So they are only save 3 up. They don't have armor content. So I think they have something against shooting in this detachment. I don't quite recall. But yeah, all in all, army girls, I like them. They're good for me. And the mission was in the same map, and it was linchpin tipping point. So now it actually means something to hold the middle objective, although it's still very hard because we got the same open board. Okay. So what are my thoughts going into this matchup? First, I need to kill one of the big knights, especially the shooting one. So I cannot let him just blast me again and again and again and again because I will lose all my units. Of course, knights have crazy damage and my monsters are not that tough for their weapons. So I need to at least kill one of them. Something that is very good for me in this matchup is that I have more units and some of them are lone ops. So most of his units, because he had 8 army guards, 4 of them were shooting army guards and 4 of them were melee. They are blasting from afar, so he only has like 4 or 5 units that he wants to move up and jump into objectives. So that means that my lone ops are going to force him to come, and then I can be the one hitting first, which is what happened. We will see later. Then middle objective, something that you have to acknowledge is basically impossible to hold. So again, this same map, you are going to be shot from all angles, from knights, even from behind, because they are titanic. They can tow in, they can shoot you. So from the get-go, I totally gave up on holding the middle. I didn't even send anything. I just left my lone operatives here, like just, I will be here doing maybe established locus, thing like that, but yeah, impossible to hold it. Also for him, he cannot put an army here and expect it to survive. Another key for me was that knights have a very hard time screening. So I need to take advantage of that. So he has army guards. He doesn't want to leave them back here because otherwise they cannot shoot. So he needs to move them up, and he does not have any screening unit. So I will probably at some point have the opportunity to come from behind. And in linchpin, that's a very, very big thing, because linchpin means that holding your home objective is very important. You get more points for holding your home objective. If you lose it, your other objectives only give you 3 points each instead of 5. So that's very clear. I need to be patient. I need to look for the opening, and I need to steal his home objective with my deep strikers. And again, I need to score. I need to take advantage of all of this. Again, knights are a very bad army to defend against gargoyles because this is his expansion objective. He does not want to put an army here or here. He wants to be here because he wants to be safe from the firing, which means all this area is safe for my gargoyles to come from here and steal the objective. So this is, very similar to the previous game. I have a very clear primary advantage in this game. For him, where does he go? Like, he cannot come here because my Norn is going to be here. I have 15 OC. How many knights can you put in objective? Also, they are very open here. I can shoot them very easily. He cannot come here. Maybe he should have, to be honest. We'll see that he did not. Tried maybe to stat check me. Maybe that's his only chance to put a lot of OC and wounds in this objective and hope that I cannot kill him. I can still, send gargoyles to move block him if he tries to do that, so not a granted tactic. And yeah, so as I was saying, so very, very clear primary advantage for me in this matchup. But, don't get me wrong, I'm going to die. He has more damage, he has better shooting, he has better melee, so I need to take all the points before he inevitably tables me. All right, and let's jump to what happened. So, I went first again, so again, even further incentive to go and hold the points, and I started scoring 8 every turn. So of course my home was totally safe with the buy board on here, and this is a matchup in which I just sent the Norn, because if I send the Lictor, maybe he comes with an army guard and steals it, so I don't want that to happen. So even though I won't be charging anybody if I'm standing here, that's fine. I just want to hold my objective. At the same time, as I was saying, very easy for me to deny his his expansion. So he put an army guard here, the big knight was here, and the other big shooting knight was here. Okay, so he put an army guard here. So I just like it didn't require any skill. I just needed to push my guy was here, and then next turn I deep stroke another units of guy was here and did the same. So that meant that he didn't score primary in turn 2 or in turn 3. He was stuck scoring his home objective. He could not do anything. I managed to kill the shooty big knights, but it was only in turn 3. So after he shot down 3 monsters. So yeah, this was kind of as expected. So he deployed one army guard here, which meant if I go here, I had a line in turn 1. So I took it and I killed one army guard because I got bring it down as well in turn 1. So I was already exposed with my Terran effects in turn 1, which meant he stepped and started shooting me. So that already, he did not kill the Terran effects turn 1, which I admit was a bit lucky on my part. So he rolled poorly, don't get me wrong, because normally I would say that this defender should have brought down the Terran effects together with some army guards that were firing from this line. But he did not, which meant that in turn 2, I fired back with a Terran effects from here, with an Exocrine, with another Terran effects from here. Basically, all my army shot at the big knight, and I did not kill it. So this is what happens with Tyranids, you know. He meant that he had 3 big knights always shooting weapons. I was toast. But I did not kill it, but I bracketed it at least. So in turn 3, then he killed the Terran effects, he killed another Exocrine, but it was not that bad because it was bracketed. I think I left it in 2 wounds. So yeah, at the end, kind of according to plan, could have gone either way. He could have killed my Terran effects turn 1. I could have killed his defender turn 2 maybe, and then the game would have been over. He was left in 2 wounds. I think I was lucky because my Terran effects was alive and shot back. You know, it's a dice game, it happens. But I think in this game I was luckier than my opponent. And in the meantime, yeah, we had some trades. He was sending army guards to the midboard. I was shooting from here with an Exocrine. I was shooting from here with a Terran effects. I was charging with my Gene Stealers. Again, from this ruin, which was kind of safe, to be fair, because I was standing here right before, and it's 8 and then the charge, so it's not that far away. So yeah, nobody had the midboard as expected, so I was scoring 8 and 8 and 8 and 8, and he was scoring basically 3. And at some point, I also did a shadow in the warp, which made his score 0 because I was controlling here, and also he lost his objective. And at some point, because of his poor screening, I was able to deep strike my Raveners here, which did a charge into an army guard, and I was able to deep strike my Litor here, which did sabotage and establish locus, which is a ton of points in his deployment zone. I didn't even need to kill him. His backfield holder, because I was just scoring mission after mission. And yeah, this got me a very clear 18-2 win. I think it was, 18-2 was a bit too much. I think probably with a less lucky first rolls with this Terran effects, with maybe a worse shadow in the warp, which is good against knights, don't get me wrong. Some of them are leadership 7, I believe. Maybe it would have been like a 15-5 or a 16-4, something like that. But yeah, very clear win. I think army guards are great for my army, so I think the pairing did the job. Okay, and that was the last round. So that was the tournament for me. As I was said, undefeated. No big surprises there, but it's the first time that I managed. So really, really happy after 10 tournaments or so that I got here. I ended up 5th out of 18 players, tying my best result. I also got 5th in another individual tournament 2 weeks ago. And my team, so this leftovers team, we ended up 3rd with a 1-1-1 record because we tied this last round. Yeah, so we lost another match very clearly, and the other one was a tie. And yeah, so a lot of lessons learned. I think this macro planning was very important, identifying the mission. I think I did some misplays in terms of micromanagement. We probably went too far with some units. I didn't go over that because I don't recall everything exactly, of course. But yeah, overall very happy. Congratulations also to my team, Nazarines. It's my actual team because they finished 2nd with their 3 players attending. And of course, to the winners of the tournament, I think they went totally undefeated with 2 victories and a tie in terms of teams. And some of their players win all 3 games, which is, of course, to be proud. And thank you everyone who attended because of the attitude, the sportsmanship. Again, this is a great place to play. So it's in War Games Granada. It's an you know, a club. It's not a store, but a club. But yeah, everyone playing there is like super friendly, and we had a great time. So that was the analysis of the tournament. Thank you for listening, and see you.